Hey, this is Tony Jones, and I am posting this week's video response for thehardestquestion.org. And we're in Advent 3 of Year A, and I've read Russell's posts for this week, and I think that he raised for me what's the hardest question, the most intriguing question for sure, and the question that I would be preaching on. And that is, why wasn't John the Baptist one of the disciples? So we might even have to think of it hypothetically, like if John would not have been beheaded, would he have been one of the disciples? I just think it's a really intriguing question, and to attack it homiletically would be interesting. I think it would make for a very interesting sermon, because you think, well, maybe John would have been, because he seemed to have gotten or understood who Jesus was and what Jesus was all about, and he obviously was related to Jesus, as we think possibly other disciples were. At least Jesus' family was hanging around him, so they were part of his posse. On the other hand, maybe John wouldn't have been. Maybe John wouldn't have been a very good follower, which is, of course, the meaning of the word disciple. I guess that's one of the questions, is would John have been a good disciple? But, some of the other disciples weren't very good followers either, it seems. Maybe John would not have, kind of taken on this role of following Jesus around, going from spot to spot. Or maybe John just wouldn't have been good at going where Jesus told him to go, or going out 2 by 2, or, shaking the dust off his sandals, or whatever. All the many orders that Jesus gave to his disciples and told them to follow. Maybe John wouldn't have been particularly good at that. But I just think it's an intriguing kind of question to get us deeper into these texts about John proclaiming the first advent, and in some ways also the second advent, or kind of laying the groundwork for the second advent of Christ. So there's my hardest question for this week. Why wasn't John the Baptist invited to be one of the disciples? And if he wouldn't have had his head chopped off and would have been invited, would he have accepted?